Oh, there we go. Okay. So this is Ode to Nikki featuring Absol. And this is so interesting because, like I was saying before, she mentioned K. Dot on the record right before this one. And so, I had a feeling she wanted to let us know with the kind of the lyrics that she was saying, like, oh, I want to be your friend. And it felt like a friendship of music generations coming together. And then she had the dabbling of a little bit of the trap beat, a little bit of the raw voice. And then she had a rapper in it too. JID was in it. So now we get to this next one, and there's Absol in it. So super, super excited. Oh, W sequencing. She playing chess, right? She gave us a little hint. And then she said, I'm about to take y'all on this journey. And that's very W2, by the way, Reezy, because if she, let's say her first song on the album was with the rapper, with JID, it could come across weird for some people because she's soul, she's R&B, she's contemporary jazz, she's, but instead she started in things that just felt so good, so soulful. And then now she dabbled in hip hop, not too much, right? That's what I was saying. She didn't put too much of the trap beat on there, not too much of any of those things. And now we're about to see what's next with Absol. All right, y'all. Here we go. Oh, to Nikki. Wait, I gotta turn up the volume a little bit because I usually keep this browser's volume a bit down. Okay, we're just gonna go 100% and I'll pull back on the browser if we need to. So prepare yourselves. It's going to be a lot louder than it just was. Okay. Oh, to Nikki.
She is not trapped in a perpetual loop. They are not doing what they are used to. He is not sitting on the same concrete wishing. She is a living, alive Celestine Prophecy. He can actually taste his own vibrancy. She is swaying to her symphony, rocking.
Hey, real quick, Celestine Prophecy. Hold on. I'm like, do I have that book? Oh, hold on, y'all. Wait a second. Hey, yo. Hey, freaking yo. She just said Celestine Prophecy. And the way I have the book, The Celestine Prophecy, out here. Oh my goodness. And so I'm like, where was that lyric? Did I just go far ahead by accident? I did. Yes. She is a living, alive Celestine Prophecy. My mother bought me this book. Okay. And I told y'all I'm very spiritual. And my mother bought me this. I need to read it actually, but I understand what the topic that it's about. It says a book that comes along once in a lifetime to change lives forever. It says the Celestine Prophecy contains secrets that are currently changing our world, drawing on the ancient wisdom found in a Peruvian manuscript. It tells you how to make connections between the events happening in your own life right now and lets you see what is going to happen to you in the years to come. The story it tells is a gripping one of adventure and discovery, but it also is a guidebook that has power to crystallize your perceptions of why you are where you are in life and to direct your steps with a new energy and optimism as you head into tomorrow. Yeah. It says on the front, in the rainforests of Peru, an ancient manuscript has been discovered. Within its pages are 9 key insights into life itself. Insights each human being is predicted to grasp sequentially, one insight then another, as we move toward a completely spiritual culture on Earth. Yeah. Yeah, but it's in the idea of people who are interested in learning about Indigo Children and things like that. And so this was on a journey. My mother was finding a lot of literature that she wanted me to read on the subject. And I think I started it at least a long time ago. But for it to still be with me after my move, and I don't have a ton of my things from, like, I was given this when I lived in North Carolina. So I've actually had this book for, oh my goodness, 15 years or longer than that. Yeah. So when she said that, I'm like, wait a second, Celestine Prophecy out here. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of like, I mean, I think I haven't actually read the book, but it's one of those things, like my mother, she was buying me a bunch of books about it around that time because someone she worked with, she thought was an indigo child. And then after he met me, he was like, he thinks I might be too, based on some things about what my life was like over my life. Oh, interesting. There's a scripture at the beginning. Okay, it says, for Sarah Virginia Redfield, and those who have insight will shine brightly like the brightness of the expanse of heaven, and those who lead the many to righteousness like the stars forever and ever. But for you, Daniel, conceal these words and seal up the book until the end of time. Many will go back and forth, and knowledge will increase. Daniel 12:3-4. Interesting. So yeah. Yes. All right. Now we got to start it from the top. Now, oh wait, I just realized I was little and I can make it a little bit bigger. Oh, but it's green, so it's see-through. But Celestine Prophecy, it says, an adventure, James Redfield. Yep. And I read some of the back of this as well. And then like this front part right here for y'all. Yep. Okay, from the top. Oh my goodness.
Oh, to Nikki. She is not trapped in a perpetual loop. They are not doing what they are used to. He is not sitting on the same concrete wishing. She is a living, alive Celestine Prophecy. He can actually taste his own vibrancy. She is swaying to her symphony, rocking her hammock, feeling the breeze, self-motivating, self-satisfactioning, wonder-filled curiosity.
Oh, wow.
Exciting. Cages crumbled, much pride, much humble, much fumbled.
Hey.
Down for what, for who?
Oh.
Intentional luxury.
Oh, man.
The spoon, complex simplicity, simpatico, beautiful beings touched by the sun.
Wow.
Shining, vibrating sonically. Easy.
Wow. Wow.
He is not trapped in a perpetual loop. They write sonnets, ode to her mentality. They remember themselves. The costumes are hilarious. We are lifting. She is not cruel. He is not entertaining the poisoning. We are laughing at the futility. We are harboring none of their shameful tryings. We are lava form foundation. We have learned love is kind, and its sword is cauterizing.
Oh.
Memorizing, strategic.
Oh.
Ain't not mere coincidence nowhere. We have opened our eyes and no X or Z guises. We are together, birds and feather, risen and rising, thriving, finding the most beauty, the most hypnotizing, the most mesmerizing.
Wow.
Easy.
Hey. Yes, right, Reezy. Reezy, 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 Reezy.
Man, we are not trapped in no perpetual loop. Better recognize, got them squares out of our circle when referred to Metatron's cube. Let me tell you why. It's all mathematics and black on both sides. Backbone made of titanium. The current, ever spinning tide is afraid of us, and I ain't surprised. Our system is solar, the orbit is getting slower, the sun is colder, we moonwalking in blue suede shoes, replace the pennies with silver dollars inside our loafers, sliding in stealth with knowledge of self. First class astro flights that never land, done ego tripping, but still shape shifting, applying sacred geometry off at the head of you reptilians.
That is the vision and the plans.
Hey, Reezy. Reezy, you're a producer. Oh man, that production. Ooh. Oh my goodness. Ooh, that production though. Like one thing I do feel like that bass was a bit high and a lot with how light the other pieces were. I feel like everything else could have lifted up a little bit more because it was bass heavy. I feel like a bassist is a part of producing most of the songs we've heard so far. And maybe they were like, oh yeah, make sure that bass shines through. But maybe they're also doing a thing of keeping it soulful, but having that idea of a heavy bass and hip hop be a part of it. And so, yeah, that was awesome. But on so many levels, because then I'm thinking about like Celestine Prophesy, thinking of like the concept of Indigo Children inside of what she's saying. And so to explain more about Indigo Children, especially now that I think more of the song is really about that. It's supposed to be the idea of like spiritual evolution is how I put it, to where there's a woman, for instance, she used to study children. She was like a psychologist or something. And she would also see kind of like an aura around some of these children that she felt shared a similar like spiritual gifting in some ways. And it was a very indigo aura around them. And what these children shared in common was that they saw the world a little bit differently. And they also tended to be in trouble a lot growing up because they had this natural thing about breaking systems or old things and things that were broken, like institutions that people always just kind of went along with. They look at these old institutions and they want to dismantle them. And so when they're little, they act out a little bit differently, or they end up in trouble because the system's always like, no, get in line with the system, do that thing. And so the people who have identified with it, they've been in trouble growing up, and they have vision of how the world could be a better place. But they may not themselves get to build that thing, but they are really into dismantling the old world that they feel needs to be dismantled. But how that comes into play with like the next idea is that there are children now who aren't necessarily called indigo, but I think they're called like crystal. And they are so full of love and light that they then, in the wreckage of the indigo children that then became adults and did different things to try to help like dismantle systems, then they come behind and they are able to help build better systems that are more loving and more kind to people. And it's so interesting that my mom brought this to me because we were both very spiritual, but just kind of like Christian, you know? And she met this guy who was her boss. And it was right after she had gotten out of prison. And she was helping people get back to work who had also had records. And she met him and she was like, he's the first person she met that told her something spiritual that felt like he had a gifting above just patience and kindness and like those spiritual things. And she would have people meet him, and each time he would be able to like prophesy over them. And then she was just like, she learned about him. She learned about Indigo through him. And she had never been into any of this stuff. It's like even growing up with like people being prophetic, they never prophesied over my mom, but a lot of people had prophesied over me. And one of them happened in front of her. And she was just like, that's so interesting. It never happens to me, but it happened to you. And then fast forward, she wanted me to meet him. And I did. And he said some things to me that were really interesting. And what happened? My mother was convinced. She was just like, oh my goodness. After hearing his story about being in trouble in school growing up, and I was definitely in trouble growing up in school, but it wasn't because I was a bad child. I was actually just very accelerated. And my mom asked them that in the 3rd grade, like, have you tested her for being accelerated? And then they did. And then they took me out of some of my classes to do some other things, to learn in-depth things about other stuff. So random. Like I'm learning about topography and stuff in elementary school. I remember that lesson. But yeah, so she was just so convinced after hearing about that, and then just kind of feeling like spiritually, she felt like I had something or another. But, you know, that can feel weird, especially when I'm around a lot of people who don't really think that way. And I didn't really think that way myself. It wasn't like, oh, I have a gifting or something. No, I wasn't quite like that either. But my mother was convinced. And for her to never feel like any of that stuff was happening, she was so convinced on this. And so she started to buy these books. And so like reading these lyrics also with that understanding of all of those things, it's really, I think she's talking about Indigo in this. Because like wonder-filled curiosity. Look, the first lyric I went to when I jumped through, wonder-filled curiosity, excited cages crumble. That's kind of how they can feel, is that this is a cage that needs to be broken because everyone's in prison to an old philosophy of things, and you need to make things better. No more dumbing down. For what? For who? You know, easy. Ooh, man. Simpatico, beautiful beings touched by the sun. Yeah, I think a lot of this is on, ooh, he is not trapped in a perpetual loop. Like all of these parts are very much so speaking to a lot of these concepts. And so I'm wondering about Jill Scott, like, did she, you know, maybe have some sort of awakening since her last album to get to this new place and to talk about these things? And so, man, I'm really, really interested. And even Absol's name, by the way, gives vibes and feelings of that, of like soul mixed with, like, Ab is sometimes being like the opposite of or against. And I wonder what his name comes from now, too. And it's like, who's Nikki? Who is Nikki? So very interesting. Yeah. Very, very interesting. You said, yeah, you can tell a bass player mixed it, that part. Fat Keys? Absolutely. Oh, Reezy, you said Absol is insane, elite lyricist. And that's also the excitement I had. Like, I was like, oh, snap. Like, for them to collaborate, I'm looking forward to it. And then for it to be on this, I'm like, oh, man. You know, she was probably like, I need a lyricist, not just a rapper. And plus she's already a lyricist and she's already has been doing such great art that I don't think she would have settled for anything less. Yeah, not at all. And you said Rhino, built for and thrive in a live performance. Yeah, I'm already like visually seeing it. You know, the bass player just like killing next to her. Yeah, this is a very natural sound that doesn't feel too raw. Because here's the thing, when we were talking about like Super Bowl and Coco and Charlie Puth and all these pieces, it's not about making it sound like it came out of someone's garage either. I think there is a nice balance between something sounding too perfect, which can be uncomfortable for some people, and having something with a little bit of strain or imperfection that just kind of can be soothing and human. Especially in this new AI world, I think people are going to start to maybe hopefully yearn for more authenticity. And so I feel like this gives an authenticity of a polished live performance. Very much so a record that is produced and for a CD or, you know, a radio or different things, but it's not overly done. Like, I don't feel like there's a heavy auto tune on her. Like there could be just like a little bit of, you know, a little this or that here and there, but nothing to say she wouldn't perform it exactly like this. Yeah. This is great. Is giving revolutionary. Yes, Reezy, that's another piece of kind of what they're drawn toward, is being not them being a revolutionary, but for doing revolutionary things. Like, how do they do enough change in the world to where they feel like they have where it feels good in their soul, right? Because I think that's a big part of it. Is it will make you feel sick and it'll make you feel ill if you feel like there's something you're supposed to do and you're not doing it. And like, even hearing this song, I'm like now getting an ill feeling of like, wait, I've been so disconnected from myself for a long time. And there were so many things that I felt that I needed to do in order to make those feelings go away. And then I got stuck in a freaking perpetual loop of chaos from the last 2 years. You know, things happened. And I've told y'all about it. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get out of it. I'm going to get back. And so I love stuff like this too, that really try to make sure they're passing a message on, that the people who hadn't heard of Celestine Prophecy, now they might learn about it, might understand their feelings or some of the things they've gone through or X, Y, and Z. I'm glad that they made this piece of art. And as we were saying earlier, it's not so much always lyrics or the vocal production or the music. What is the point of the message? Is there something bigger being discussed? And that can just send a song stratospheric for me. Atmospheric, no, stratospheric, right? For me. Becky, you said, I met a guy that told you struggles that you were going through at the time and what you needed to do and what I would be doing. I do believe he was an angel with a word I needed to hear. Yes. So more on that. The prophetic person who spoke to me, it was a situation. We were at my we were at a mega church, okay? And I was in middle school, and at the moment, it was me, my mom, and my dad. We walked up, and it was a prophetess at the megachurch who there's like no way, there's like 5,000 members. So it's not like she's memorizing 5,000 people who are going to walk up to her. And it was my mom holding my dad's hand, holding my hand. And we all three walk up to her, and she says to me, I need you to like survive in a way. She's like, I know you are going through a really difficult relationship with your dad, whose hand I'm holding, by the way, whose hand I don't know if I ever held at another time in my life. Okay. And I'm holding his hand, and she says this in front of him. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, the way she didn't know I needed to hear that at that time. And I told y'all recently, so y'all did get a little bit of it. I think my dad had a form of bipolar called hypomania, which would send him into really manic states that were really, really difficult to navigate. And she was just like, I need you to hold on. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, the way I needed to hear this. But she didn't say anything to my mother or my dad, and just said that to me. And in that moment, I needed that, you know? So yeah, even his presence felt different. Yes, Fat Keys. So yeah, God most definitely has his hand on you. Oh my goodness, Fat Keys. And the way I'm like not trying to fight back the tears, but they're just like on the edge of rumbling over and out. My goodness. Hey, Drews, how are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome in here. Steph, what's up? What is up? And so, yeah, it sounds like she had some stuff happen. Fat Keys, yeah. Yeah. You say, Jill's pen is amazing. You got to have a special kind of wrapper to match. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, my goodness. The way I didn't expect anything like this to come up in this album. But yeah, even this, like I was saying, this burnt orange color is just really vibrant. Like it's soulful yet vibrant at the same time. So yeah, this is interesting. I'm like, what is dang on next out here? This is like the fourth song. Wait, we got, y'all, are we? And I thought this might not be a long one to get through, because I was like, it's going to be soulful. I'm just probably going to just love, it's Jill Scott. We got 15 songs left. Hey, yo. Okay, we're going to see how far we get. But yeah, this was great. Let's see what's next.